All right, everybody, welcome back to the Lions Pit podcast. I am your host, Nick Gomez. With me today is CEO and four-time world qualifier for HYROX, Matt Halfhill. Thank you for coming to the studio, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome to have you on. I got introduced to you from a mutual friend of ours, Eric Bumpus, good dude. And I've been doing a little creeping on your social media, trying to get some backstories and try to get some cool stories. Super interesting stuff, man.
Yeah, thank you. No, first things first, Eric's a great guy that I've met through this HYROX journey, HYROX space. I'm really honored to be here to speak with you.
HYROX has become such a takeover in the fitness industry. You have HYROX gyms now, and it's like, I keep telling people, because I'm from New Mexico. Originally, I was born in California, but I grew up in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. And New Mexico, it's very endearing. The food and the landscape, the geography there is beautiful. But to be honest with you, as far as especially the health industry, they're a good 10 to 15 years behind, like really booming cities. Mm-hmm. Like my former boss out there at the gym that I was at, Performance Ranch, and he works with, the highest level of athletes, a lot of high endurance athletes, because Albuquerque's mile high altitude. So we get a lot of endurance athletes that go out there to train. But he just built out his first like sauna cold plunge area. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the few people in Albuquerque I know that has that going at the gym. And I'm like, mm-hmm. Man, that is crazy. Because if you're a gym out here in Austin and you don't have that, it's kind of like, okay, yeah. I'll lump you in with the Crunch and the Planet Fitness and the Golds. So again, it's kind of crazy to be out here and then now see the HYROX takeover. What made you want to get into it?
So the story for me in HYROX is probably not a very untraditional path. I was actually recovering from surgery where I couldn't be in the pool. I used to weigh 320 pounds a few years ago. Lost a lot of weight, and a byproduct of that was a lot of excess skin. I was training during the whole process, wanting to go get back in the pool, play water polo at master's level, and something that was, an inconvenient thing in the pool and outside was just all the excess skin. Mm-hmm. So I had skin removal surgery at the end of 2022, and unfortunately, with that came a long time I was not allowed to be in the pool because of incisions and whatever, and the healing process. So I started picking up, doing some activities, and one time I saw somebody mention something about HYROX, and I'm like, what is that? And I go and Google it, and I see, oh my gosh, like I think I could not just do this. I think I could be good at this. Like I always had decent endurance when I played soccer. So like the running part, I felt like comfortable. I could do okay. Mm-hmm. And then the strength, I was like, I'm not the strongest, but I think I could find that right balance. And so I signed up for my first HYROX race like a week later and ran it in November of 2023.
So November's Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas.
Okay.
Yes.
The first one I went to was Dallas, but it was 2024.
Yes.
And working at, side note, because I do want to get back into a lot of what you just said. But working at then On It, now correct, we held a sim, and I was coaching some clients back while we were hosting the sim in like the sled push area, and I just saw these guys like dying, like sweating, and guys cheering each other on, and it's like I missed that because I grew up in a team sport, playing baseball my whole life, played in college, and I was like, God, like that. I think that's what I'm missing right now. Like that's like the itch that I can't scratch, and so as soon as I went and watched the Dallas one, I signed up for Houston in March of 25. But man, yeah, it was that kind of like, okay, that's the suffering that like I think I need. So great.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly that sport draws you in as well. Mm-hmm. The thing I tell people all the time who haven't been to one is like the experience as an athlete, as well as before and after your race. If you don't feel something, man, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing quite as electric as that.
Yeah.
Actually before I even had my first race, and it's amazing just the community of the athletes as well. I was introduced to who is now my coach, Rich Ryan. And he actually sent me like a plan to like help gear me up for my first race. But like before my race that afternoon, I saw Rich and Palaio, his partner, like set the world record on doubles.
Oh, wow.
Not long after that, Ryan Kent, Meg Jacoby did the same. And so like before I've even raced, I'm already just like so energized and so like amped up.
Yeah.
And it was like an unforgettable, experience.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was kind of weird coming to the line because I've never been big into, like, I don't do any like the run groups or things like that. But like coming up to the start line, I'm like, why am I so jittery? I'm like, I am like wired nervous right now. And like I've fought like I did after after college I got into Muay Thai. And so I've competed in Muay Thai. I fought a couple times. I'm standing at the line, I'm like, I'm nervous, like I'm about to fight. Like I have to like really like focus on my breathing right now. And again, it just that atmosphere creates an energy that like you have to be in to really like understand what it's like.
Yeah.
So going back to you played college growing up? Soccer growing up?
I played soccer as well as water polo.
Okay. I saw you're from California originally?
Yeah, I'm from Fresno, California.
Fresno, NorCal, huh?
Yes. Yeah. Where in California are you from?
I was born in Glendora, so like LA County.
Yes.
But I've been up to Fresno a couple times. Not the biggest Bulldog fan, but you know.
Hey.
Yeah, when I hear water polo, I instantly think California.
Yes.
I had because I moved out of California when I was 8 years old, so I didn't grow up like if I would have stayed in California, I probably would have got into water polo and hockey. Because that was like what my family did. My mom's side was hockey. My dad's side got into water polo. But yeah, so when I hear water polo, I think California. But in New Mexico, there's no water or polo for that matter.
Neither.
Yeah. So those are two very high endurance sports. Like you have to have a gas tank to play both of those. Water polo is very physical. A lot of people don't realize like, what's going on under the water.
Yeah.
It's a lot of kicking, scratching, pulling, tugging, all that stuff. Pretty brutal from my understanding. What, if you don't mind me asking, what happened from the time when you were an athlete to when you were 320 pounds?
Yeah. Honestly, like a week before I graduated high school, I registered a domain name that is my business, Nice Kicks, that I'm still working today.
That was in high school?
That was in high school.
Brother.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, but what happened was that became very quickly my passion. Like I'm very passion focused, passion driven. And that really became it. You know, we had just finished soccer season. Team won cup. It was like an all-time high to like walk off from the sport that way. But it started Nice Kicks, and that's where my energy went. And I kind of had this attitude of like, well, I can worry about fitness another time. Like I'm busy making money now. Like I'm busy like focusing on this, and I'll get around to it. I'll get
building the future.
Yeah, build the future. And like I can always go back into it when I want to. And I just neglected my health and fitness for just so long, and to the absolute breaking point. And that's when it was, you know, I had that light bulb moment or whatever that was like, no, this has to change.
Yeah, was it like a doctor's appointment or like you?
No, I did not want to go to a doctor's office because I knew what I was going to hear. I knew if I went to a doctor's office, I would likely be put on some kind of medication. And I had already been prescribed medicine that had completely wrecked me mentally. So me and medicine, I was like, I know what you're here for. I know your code that you're supposed to do no harm, but like y'all fucked me up before. Yeah. So, but what I knew was, what I did was I had, the wake up call for me is like, I couldn't feel parts of my legs when I touched them. And that's when I started Googling, and I'm like, you know, I found other people on Reddit threads or whatever saying like, yeah, that is more than likely nerve damage. You're probably in a pre-diabetic state. And that was like, when I read those words, I was like, okay, it's now or never, dude. Like you've put this off forever and you might not have the chance to turn things around if you keep this up. And like I told myself like this line, get fit or die trying, like this is it. And that's when I had to make all the changes in food, sleep, all kinds of things. All, you know, and I'm not going to say it was like overnight I figured it out. Like,
sure.
It took me a long time to figure out what was going to work. But that was the moment that I was like, things have to change.
What are you walking around at now?
I'm actually down to 187, I think is my lowest. I'm working down towards, I'd like to be 180 before Worlds, which, you know.
It's a 140-pound difference.
Yeah, 142 from
correct.
peak to valley. Yeah, I got down to 178 at January 1st of 2021.
Awesome, man. Awesome to hear those kind of stories because a lot of people get to that point and you're already caught up in your ways, and it's so hard to make a change. And it is hard to make a change.
It is, and it's also when society gives space for it. You know, this was happening for me. I made this change in 2017, but for about a year and a half prior to that, the body positivity movement was preaching this healthy at any size. And I'm thankful that, you know, we talked before about skepticism of what you hear and what you read. I love to stress test ideas. People say, you know, I'm like, an asshole or I'm being nitpicky or like, why do you have to be so contrarian? I'm like, no. If you have an idea, I want to stress test it. Let's push it from different angles. Let's take hypotheticals. Just see how strong this idea is.
Mm-hmm.
And healthy at any size, I found pretty quickly, I'm like, this is absolute nonsense. And I'm like, I heard people saying about empowerment or whatever, and that people will feel better about themselves by thinking this. And I'm like, do you have any idea how many people you are actually harming by this?
Yeah.
I knew I was not healthy. I knew not to accept my situation.
Yeah.
And that's what, I'm thankful I didn't, because maybe I wouldn't have felt that I should make a change.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have thought, oh, it's okay. I'm just healthy this way.
Yeah. And I think the biggest indicator that the body positivity movement was a load of crap was now you're seeing a lot of those same celebrities on Ozempic commercials.
Yes.
You see Rebel Wilson, you see Serena Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, first of all, Serena Williams, in my opinion, she did look like a healthy big girl. Obviously, she was a world-class athlete. Heavy, but a world-class athlete. And now she's on GLP-1 commercials, whatever it may be, whether it's Ozempic or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you guys were the face of the body positivity movement. And now your face looks very different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so for me, kind of peak to valley, like you're saying, I was a very soft 230 when I was married, probably hovering around 35% body fat. And then valley as far as low goes, right before my first fight, I got down to 148. But that was just to fight. I was not walking around at 148.
Still.
Yeah. So that for me, that was an 80-pound difference from 128 to 148.
That's a big swing for like percentage-wise.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'8".
You're not a big guy, yeah.
I'm walking around right now. This morning I was 166. But yeah, and that's the thing is like, it took a kick in the pants for me to get it going. It was right before I got married is when I started to like change things. And then when I got divorced, I was like, okay, now I really have to change things. And that's when I got into fighting and really started to like focus on weight. Weight cuts are so unhealthy for fighters.
Yes.
That's why there's really a certain time period where fighters can compete at a high level and still make those weight cuts. And luckily the UFC does a good job of testing their fighters to make sure they can still make certain weights. I remember I worked for Cowboy Cerrone. Do you follow any sort of martial arts? Or
I don't, no.
Cowboy Cerrone, he'll be a Hall of Famer. He long UFC career. But I remember he went to the UFC because he was a 155 fighter for a long time. Then started fighting at 170. Had some early success, but then realized he was kind of a small 170. So he wanted to get back to 155. And the UFC had tests that he could do to be like, okay, yeah, you can still make 155. And this is probably in his mid-late 30s. So like I said, UFC does a good job of that. But overall, those weight cuts are so unhealthy.
Oh, yes.
But they know, like now fighters know like what you're really signing up for. Back in the day, there wasn't a lot of science. It's such a young sport compared to every other like major American sport. It's really interesting to see like the science kind of catching up to the sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, the weight cuts are just especially the water cut. And like growing up with like wrestlers, we all knew like, oh, man, these kids are like running around the gym in a trash bag. I'm like, that can't be healthy. And it's not. But there are healthy ways to go about it. I work with a dietitian now. She did her internship at the UFC Performance Institute. And because I was supposed to actually fight March 7th. I was supposed to have a Muay Thai fight. Injuries happened. I actually, turns out I have a hernia. So I ended up not fighting on the 7th. But I was working with a dietitian and she's just phenomenal. So like the science that's coming into the game is really, really cool to see.
Yeah. I mean, science is affecting sport in so many ways. You mentioned earlier that gym in Albuquerque might not have like the cold plunge, hot and sauna setup like we have here in Austin. A lot of that is like the science of recovery is something a lot have become hyper aware of.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you hear like legendary how much money LeBron James spends on recovery.
Yes.
It's like north of $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Hyperbaric chambers, IVs, therapists, whatever. And when you have that, I mean, he's got, a bottomless bank account. So why not? I would too. I mean, I love a good like assisted stretch or massage or cold plunge sauna.
But I mean, just imagine what the payoff is if he can get one extra year out of his career.
Right.
For that price is like, oh, that's a very high ROI.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because again, he's north of 40, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but I just, on the athletic side, I pay attention to stuff like that. So when's the next HYROX for you? You doing another one?
I have Miami scheduled. So doing my first pro solo race there.
Nice.
And then doing also a race with a friend that I grew up with in Grenada, doing a doubles one for fun. We did triathlons back in the day. So this one's like a really cool, like full circle kind of thing to get to do that with him there.
And where's that one?
This in Miami.
In Miami. Okay.
Yeah. And then world champs in June.
And that's do they always do it in Chicago?
No, it's in Stockholm, Sweden this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Crazy.
So they move it every year.
Okay. I've done 2. I did Houston, like I told you, and then I ended up doing Rome back in September.
Oh, nice.
And it was a great time. It was very much an Italy trip that involved HYROX. We were out there 5 days before and then 3 days after. And I keep telling people, because I'm not an endurance guy, and I also do want to fight again this year after I get this hernia situation figured out. So I'm looking at a fight in potentially August in Albuquerque. But I tell people, I'm like, there's 2 scenarios where I would do another HYROX. One, if I started dating a girl that wanted to do a HYROX, I'd be like, okay, I'll go do another one. Or another destination one. But that could be Miami. That could be, I'm not the biggest fan of Vegas, to be honest with you. But I love Chicago. I wouldn't care about New York, but like Sao Paulo or like something like that would be cool. Stockholm would be cool. Like another country would be great.
So I did Cape Town, South Africa in the start of the 24 season or 24-25 season. I did Cape Town, South Africa, and that was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah.
So I totally am with you. I love the idea of pairing travel with a race as well.
Yeah. Did you do the race at the beginning or the end?
I did it towards the beginning.
Okay.
It was unfortunately day 3, which I had forgotten how jet lag always hits me on day 3. I used to work in Germany and it was always day 3. It was like my worst day when I'd go over. And then, sure enough, day 3. And so day 3 hit me and I got 2 hours of sleep before that race because I just couldn't sleep the night before.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, we weren't sure, like planning, because we were all, it was me, it was myself, another coach from Correct, a couple of the members, and we're all amateur athletes. And so we were like, well, should we plan it at the beginning or the end? Because we want to enjoy the trip, like being out there. And I remember after Houston, I was pretty beat up for probably 2 or 3 days. And so I was like, well, let's plan it towards the end. That way we can walk, because we knew there was going to be a ton of walking. It's Italy. And so it actually worked out perfectly. I have no complaints about how I structured it. We still got to enjoy the food, the wine before. 2 days before we cut out like the alcohol. And then consumed it heavily after. Yeah. But it was a great trip. There's nothing about that trip that I would do differently. So I was curious like how you set yours up.
I'm now like super like structured on it. I actually travel with my food. I have like 3 to 4 pounds of pasta that comes with me. I have my whole schedule of like what I'm eating when and all that kind of stuff going into it. So,
well, yeah, you're very serious.
Again, I talked about it like when I'm passionate about something, like I really dial it in focus.
That makes sense because I think coming from that athletic background, like if you know the high levels it takes to compete at what you want to do, you have to be. You have to be borderline crazy about it.
Yeah.
And all the great ones are. You look at like some of the greats in their sports, they all have a very dark side to them of like Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Tiger Woods, John Jones. Like they all have like a side where it's like, I don't know if I really want to like meet that person, but they are elite. Like they're the greatest that have ever done it. So yeah, to compete at that level, it takes like that level of dedication. And for HYROX, again, it's fun, it's great, and don't get me wrong, I want to continuously beat my numbers, and we did. We still PR'd in Rome, but like for me personally, I have no interest in going pro, and I have no interest in doing a solo. Like if I compete, I do want to beat my numbers. But like I said, I was getting ready for a fight. Like I love Muay Thai, so that's what I was doing when I was training for this fight. I was doing 9 sessions a week, just super locked in with my diet, missing out on time, like friends inviting you out. I'm like, I don't even want to be around the temptation of drinking or like having a couple slices of pizza or whatever. Like I am so locked in right now, but that's what it takes if you are passionate about something. How many HYROXs have you done now?
I think it's like 14 races in total.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's 14. A lot. What does your training schedule look like?
So Monday is strength focused. Tuesdays is track and speed work. Wednesday's recovery. That's like, so I'm doing like hour 20 to hour 40 of zone 2.
Very nice.
And then
that's a lot.
Thursday is strength again. Thresholds on Fridays. So doing a lot of like just extended period going between zone 3, zone 4. And then Saturday is often my rest day. And
Did you try to take that completely off?
I mean, I got a yard I'm working on, man. There
is no completely off.
I actually, it's funny. I've had so much work planting trees and doing like messing with the auger to dig the holes and all that stuff that like, I still had my work on Sunday or my workout on Sunday, which this one was LT1 work. But Monday hit, I'm like, my body didn't get enough break on Saturday. I have to take Monday off, which I hate doing.
Yeah.
So I'm probably actually going to do Monday strength stuff this afternoon just to get back on it.
Yeah. Combine the 2 days.
Yeah.
Did you already do some zone 2 today?
I did track work this morning.
Oh, track work. Yeah. Okay.
1Ks.
Do you go to what's the Yellow Jacket?
I used to until they kicked me off like a couple weeks ago, and they told me that the track is now closed. I'm like, are you serious? So
what? I feel like I still see people posting out there.
Well, maybe I was not the guy they wanted on the track. I don't know.
Wild.
But, yeah.
I've only been out there once or twice, and I was like, I didn't know anybody like officiated what was going on out there.
Yeah. So I've heard from other people have gone back and they've had no issues. So I'll try it again.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a lot. Like that's a loaded schedule. But like the importance on recovery, kind of like we're talking about with LeBron James. But like again, a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of fighters that like pretty obviously overtrained.
Oh
and
yeah,
it is so detrimental.
Yeah, I overtrained like crazy like a year ago. I mean, I was doing way too much work and then also not getting the right nutrition. Mm-hmm. That was like, it's the timing of what you're eating is so important. Like, people don't realize like just how important it is you are fueling properly, going into this hard work, making sure you get a couple bits of carbs while you're doing the work, and then immediately afterwards, just getting those carbohydrates and protein in you to start the recovery process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dietitian was like stressing that as well because she sent me a very like detailed plan, and a lot of it was like timed, like around. Mm-hmm. And she would ask her what my training schedule is and like when are you sparring, when do you have heavy training days. And at the beginning of the camp, I was like, at the end of the day, it's all about the consumption. Like, let me make sure I'm eating it all.
Right.
And God, I felt terrible. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, so like I should be having some dates before a workout, and I should have my protein shake out or whatever. But man, the nutrition is huge when it comes to that. I had a pretty bad episode, if you will. It was a night. So for my training schedule, it was Monday, like a regular like pads class. Tuesday would be like pads and then sparring after. And then Wednesday was like a technique and then pads class and then a clinch class. And clinch in a Muay Thai is you score a lot of points there. It's big in the sport. Mm-hmm. And our clinch class was brutal. It was like probably the toughest class I've ever done. And immediately on the drive home, I start feeling like inflamed. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, this is weird. I feel hot. I feel puffy. And I had to swing by HEB and it was like 10 o'clock at night. I'm exhausted. And I'm like walking around. I'm like, God, I feel terrible. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get home and I'm going to sleep like a baby. Could not sleep at all. Just tossed and turned. And I was like, what is going on? And I woke up in the morning and I felt like I had a swollen lymph node. I was like, oh, am I getting sick? And luckily we have Chat GPT now. I started entering all this into Chat GPT and I let it know like how it happened and what my night was. And it's like, oh, this is a pretty common like central nervous system response to overtraining. Mm-hmm. And especially in the clinch class, because there's a lot of pulling on the back of your head, a lot of static holding. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I'm overtraining right now. I had to take like 3 or 4 days off after that, and which was, again, as you like, when you're in the thick of it, it feels like you're just like chained. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm bored. I feel like I should be doing something. This is awful. But like my body needed that time.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have anybody that you're working with like nutrition-wise?
Man, just me, myself, and I. Like, it's honestly like I'm the science experiment that I've had to learn how to test like what works for me kind of thing. Yeah. A lot of studying of different things through the years. I mean, I had to learn about nutrition like crazy to lose the weight. And then now this is a very different chapter, which is not calorie in, calorie out. This is much more down to the micro and macronutrients of, understanding what types of carbohydrates and what types of sugars and which sources work better for you than others kind of thing. But a lot of it's just from experimenting really.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Yeah. Trial and error.
Yeah. I was missing a lot of my macros. Like my nutritionist should put like, all right, in your smoothie, it's, blueberries, 2 scoops away, peanut butter, a little bit of peanut butter, half a banana, spinach. And I was like, well, spinach is I was like, I don't need to put spinach in there. Like if I was like,
Right.
yeah. And then I'm like, she's like,
vitamin
well,
K deficiency.
yeah, I know. And so I come to find out like I'm missing a lot of my micros just because like I'm thinking, again, I was just thinking on the grand scale calories.
Right.
I'm like, there's not a lot of calories in that. So I'm not missing a lot if I don't put it in there. But your body will let you know what you're missing.
Yeah. And people overlook the different types of protein. Like they think all protein is created equally. It's like, no, there are very different amino acid profiles in each kind. And you really have to balance all of them. People get so locked in and they just become, they get all their protein from a scoop. And I'm like, guys, you're really shortchanging yourself here when you do that.
Do you have a protein source that you prefer?
Egg whites, honestly.
Yeah, I'm a big egg white guy as well. Flavorless, I mean, you can buy flavored ones. I've never tried that. If you go to like Vitamin Shop, they'll have like flavored egg whites. And I'm like, that sounds disgusting. I don't drink them straight.
Yeah, the only way I like to have flavored egg whites is by feeding the chickens like some basil, that's okay with me.
Those egg whites come out a little different?
It's a little bit different. Yeah. So my father-in-law has chickens, and whenever I'm at the farm, I'm just like, oh, I love these. They
load me up.
Oh my God, so good.
Farm fresh eggs are way better.
Oh my gosh, yes. So different.
Yeah, different consistency, color.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. My little sister used to have chickens. And so, I would just get all my eggs from her because she would just have a basket of like 30 eggs. She's like, please take some. I'm like, with pleasure.
The unfortunate thing is just how expensive it is to grow them or to raise them versus like HEB. I mean, gosh, it is
the convenience.
$8.12 for 5 dozen eggs.
Yeah.
That to me is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear people say, oh, it's so expensive, eat healthy, I'm like, what are you talking about? You'll spend more than that on a Big Mac meal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a cup of coffee. Like, you're spending that on at your Starbucks,
Yes.
Ugh, and I hate Starbucks. You're a coffee guy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've had 2 cups today.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm a big coffee guy. But yeah, I like eggs, egg whites in particular. And then with this fight camp, I was big on like ground beef, which is pretty common. Easy to meal prep that. But it was hard for me to meal prep it because I was supposed to be weighing it all out pre-cooked. So like the meal prepping was like, I can't like cook a pound of it and just kind of graze on it. All of my meals were like super detailed, which was awesome. And then I have a couple buddies at the gym. This guy named Cam Beal, he owns La Casa Tequila, but he's a big hunter. So he'd be giving me like venison and all sorts of like game meat. And so I would mix that in occasionally, especially like if I didn't want to run to HEB to go get my ground beef. I was like, all right, cool. I got, 3 pounds of ground venison in my freezer. I was like, I don't know the fat content of it, but I was like, I had a hard enough day. I think I think I earned a little extra fat in there. So I feel like you're the right guy to ask this question. I've been very curious. Well, I guess it's case dependent, but for you, what is the best shoe for HYROX?
For me, this decision, I think right now it is the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 4, the HYROX version. Oh man, it's such
That's
a mouthful.
Yeah.
I think they took Nitro out of the name officially. I can't remember. I remember getting the email once. They're like, just call it the Deviate 4. And I was like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, but the Puma made a shoe for HYROX. It's co-branded. And this one was like thoroughly engineered for the sport.
Okay.
The upper is built off. It's the same upper as the Deviate Elite 4. It's a great road shoe. But the problem that they had was that with the 3 was a phenomenal shoe. I ran all of last season in the 3, and actually the start of the season in the 3 Elite. But the problem that you have is that to be a really good road shoe, you need a shoe that's pretty lightweight, right? And you need something and to get to the lightweight, you're cutting away foam through the midfoot and you're minimizing how much is on the heel, because if you're running on the road, you're not going to touch your heels much, or you shouldn't,
not much heel strike,
right?
Yeah.
And then you also, another way that you cut away weight is by reducing the amount of tread on the shoe, right? Because that rubber's heavy. The other thing, and then lastly, all the tread design is for forward motion because you're running forward. Okay, well, let's go to the sport of HYROX. HYROX is a running focused sport.
Yeah.
So they found a happy medium for that shoe to work. But there are some mutually exclusive things, which is in HYROX, you need full traction for several of the stations. And that contradicts what you're doing when you're cutting away foam in the midfoot and the heel and removing tread.
Yeah.
Lastly, you have several stations, the sled pull specifically, where you are going in a backwards motion. So you need tread that can work in both directions.
Ah.
So they engineered the shoe. I ran it in Phoenix, had a monstrous PR on the sled pull with it. And that shoe is my favorite.
Oh, wow.
By far. Yeah.
Good to know. I've always, I graduated high school in 2006, but for me, like Puma baseball cleats at that time were just not it. They looked cool. Puma's always looked cool. But I was just not a fan. And I think I've always kind of like kept that opinion. But now like seeing them like so prevalent in HYROX, it's like, okay, they're doing, and they're big in golf too. I'm a golfer. They've become huge in golf.
They have. I mean, Puma, it's a really interesting thing because like I have the original Deviate Elite ones. Like I went to eBay to buy them because there was part of me that just had this inquiring mind of like, where did this program start, right? Because like Puma and running didn't have much of anything going on until just recently.
Interesting.
And it is insane where they have gone in just 4 years, in 4 models from the Deviate 1 to the 4. But I share that because Adidas has just entered the ring and they have a really good shoe. I don't like it as much as the Pumas. There's some things about it I don't like as much, but for a first shoe, oh my God. Like it's going to be really cool to see. Like I think we are 2 years away from 3 or 4 brands having shoes specifically made for the sport. And then the consumer gets to find what works best for them. There's not this is the one best. It's like, which one fits me the best?
Yeah. What are those 4 brands?
I think it's going, well, obviously Puma and Adidas. I think Nike is going to be playing in the ring. They've signed several big athletes.
Oh, interesting.
I would like to see Saucony enter the space, honestly.
Yeah.
But I could see New Balance doing it
Oh,
just because I know that New Balance has been, like they care a lot about sport and running. And I think that this is very close to their wheelhouse.
Okay. I see a lot of people training in Sauconys at the gym.
Yeah.
So I could see that like transitioning. Obviously Puma has the impact on the industry. They're signed with HYROX like exclusively.
Yeah, they are the
all their gear
official outfitter. Yep. Through 2030.
I like how you said Adidas.
Yes.
Well, because so I had, do you know Eric Leha?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a I'm gonna say Adidas just because that's what I've said my whole life. He's an Adidas athlete, but he's gone out to Germany, X amount of times, and he was telling the whole story about how the name became what it is, and I guess the original founder or one of the brothers, I guess the other brother started Puma, like they had a falling out.
Yeah, the Dassler brothers. So Adi Dassler and then Rudolf Dassler.
Yeah, which is Adi is short for Adolf. I believe. Yeah.
We go with Adi.
Yeah. Yeah. Adolf, not
go with Adi.
Well-accepted name.
Yeah.
So hearing you say that, I'm like, you obviously know the industry. So when you came up with the domain in high school, what made you not want to stop? You say you're a passionate person, but I got to imagine there were times where you're like, this isn't going where I thought it was going. Like there's probably some struggle for a while.
My original goal was to make $40 every 2 weeks while I went to college. I had a scholarship and I was like, all I need is just get me that $40 every 2 weeks so it can pay for my gas while I go to school. And things didn't work out that way. Things went a very different direction. And I mean, honestly, like this actually became a problem for me later because I didn't have a lot of adversity or really big struggles in the beginning. For whatever reason, like I just worked hard at what it was, right? And I had success early. Like I'm very thankful for that. But that actually then set me up for problems later in life where I'm like not understanding how to play from behind in this sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't have, there was no point in the early like couple years where I was like, oh, screw this, I want to quit.
Wow.
So
that's awesome. You usually hear, the opposite of that of like, man, it didn't do anything for years and I wanted to give up, but I kept going. So It's awesome that you had some early success. Have you always been a sneakerhead?
I would say since high school, well, middle school for sure, 8th grade, I was really starting to really care about sneakers and learn about them. And, of course, I did wrestling in 7th grade and that got me on the East Bay mailing list.
There it is.
So then I was like looking through and that's how I started to like learn about the names of the shoes, and then they used to have these little like PK, product knowledge parts that let you know the cushioning that was in them. They would show like pictorially like where the cushioning systems were in the product. And so like mentioned something about the passion thing, like I started to nerd out on it. And I really studied these things forward and backward. And when I went to high school, I wasn't the best communicator. People pick up on it quickly. Like I'm terrible with eye contact. I'm on the edge of the spectrum. But something that I learned that I could do is that I could start a conversation with almost anybody at the school I went to over on the west side of Fresno if I complimented them on their shoes. I'm like, that allowed me to have a conversation with anyone. And it wasn't, I like your shoes. It's like, man, those questions are amazing. Like, oh, when did you get the oatmeals? Referring to the oatmeal question lows. Like, and I noticed when I do that, it was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, okay, I'll have a conversation with this guy.
Yeah.
And that was, I found that, shoes can be my gateway into conversations with others.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've actually worked for a couple different shoe companies. I worked for New Balance and I worked for Reebok. And I worked at a Fleet Feet in Albuquerque. That doesn't really count.
It's retail.
Yeah,
retail footwear. Yeah.
But like at the time, Reebok was like, that was like when they were first getting into CrossFit. This was 2012.
Yeah.
2013. So like, the Nano 1 was like the shoe. But I never, it was, to me, it was always just a job. Like at that time, that wasn't my, training has always been my passion. Like helping people has always been my passion. So when it came to like the shoe stuff, like that to me was just a paycheck. I've never really like followed up on it. Like I knew like the product knowledge at that time, but the last time I worked for New Balance, and I think that was maybe 2015 is when that came to an end. And since then, like I don't know. Like I remember working with like some pretty high level marathon runners, and is more so specifically at Fleet Feet when we had multiple brands and like talking about like the Pegasus and like those kind of shoes, and like and for me, I was never an endurance athlete, so I'm like, oh man, it's way too much cushion for me. Like I can't. Like I do more shifty stuff. I need more lateral movement. I was a big Mizuno guy. I really like the Mizuno shoes. But nowadays, I'm like, I don't know. I walk around barefoot so much at the gym or like in canes that I'm like, I don't know like what's a good shoe anymore. But at the beginning of this fight camp, I fractured my foot, and I was wearing canes a lot. And our PT was like, maybe wear something with a little more like structure in it. And so I started wearing Metcons, and now I have like worn holes in both of them, and I'm embarrassed to say I'm wearing them currently. But what as a trainer, as someone that's walking a lot, what would you recommend?
Do you care about cushioning or stability more?
Stability.
If you're looking at stability, I have a pair of Nike Metcons that I use. I train in those for anything to do with weights because of the stability on those. That is my go-to for sure.
Okay,
if
interesting.
I'm doing that. Yeah, it's low to the ground. I don't want a lot of cushioning if I'm caring about stability. They're kind of like mutually exclusive.
Right.
And that was a problem when people talked about like, I want a Metcon shoe I can run in, and they made the Metcon Turbo. I'm like, yeah, it's a stability shoe that's flexible in the middle, but like you don't want cushioning if you also want to feel the ground.
Right. It's interesting you bring up the when we were talking about the Puma, specific to HYROX, because that is there's so much going on there. Like I wouldn't typically want to carry X amount of kilos in a farmer's carry in a super cushioned shoe. Like I feel for me, because like I ran them in ultras. Just because that's just what I had. Like I had some ultras, and I was like, the ultra running shoe, I was like, cool, I'll run them in that. But for me, I'm like, I don't want anything that's going to create excess instability because of cushion. And so so it's hard to find for me, again, not really being a sneakerhead. I was like, what's a good shoe that I can run a lot in, but not have excess cushion for things like carries or walking lunges or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So I would say, to think about, going back to your question about the shoe, I'd also look at the new Drop Set 4 by Adidas. That one's really good. I think I like that one more than the Metcons I was using.
Okay.
This is the problem that I think a lot of things I've read online about what shoes for HYROX are, is that people will start to overthink the stations. So the farmer carries is At best, a minute 15. At worst, what? Minute 45, 2 minutes
Sure.
versus an hour plus long race. So you have to kind of like, when you're picking your shoe, you have to think about which shoe do I maybe sacrifice a second or two here on a station? And do I make that up elsewhere?
Mm.
And what I found with HYROX, it's a running focused race. It's a running race. And when I first went into it, I had heard from people that they'd say it's CrossFit, but with running. And it's like, no, it's not. Not at all. It is a running race that has some stations.
Yeah.
The stations need to be thought of as speed bumps to your run. Is the way
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Like people ask me, how do you get good at burpee broad jumps? I'm like, run more. How do I get better at lunges? Run more.
Yeah.
How do I get better at like name any station? Run more.
Yeah.
Because your cardio capacity and your muscular endurance for the run is going to impact the way you do your wall balls at the end of the race.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's lots of strength you can do and lots of station focused work, but when in doubt,
run more.
Run more.
Yeah. That's honestly great advice. So do you know Mike Gonzalez?
Yes, I do.
Good friend of mine. I've had him on the show as well. I had him and Ashley on an episode. That was a fun one. But he's a perfect example of that because he can run like a gazelle.
Yes.
But I would be surprised if he weighs north of 150 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably closer to 140.
Right.
So for him to push a sled or the farmer's carrier or whatever, that's going to be quite taxing, but he makes it up in the run.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so like you're saying, run more. And he's a perfect example of that because there's no way, you know, he's a good athlete. Don't get me wrong, I'm not Mike's a good friend. I'm not knocking him at all. But like I can move weight a lot more proficiently than he can.
Right.
But it would just, I mean, him and Ashley, when they're running around the track, it just looks like they're gliding.
Oh,
they look like
know.
speed skaters.
They both of them are just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I liked when Mike had like the blonde mullet.
Yes.
And you just see his blonde mullet just flying around the track. I'm like, there's Mike. You could always just pick him out.
Yeah, they were fun to watch at World Champs. Both of them just crushed it out there.
Yeah, good people too. I like both of them a lot. They're fun to be around. They're both, I don't know if they're technically coaches at Correct, but they do the Correct Run Club. So they're in like our coaches like group chat with us. And they're such staples there. So they're there multiple times a day. It's kind of like you have to tell them to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing Miami. When's Miami?
Miami is third and 5th are the 2 dates of April.
April. Okay, cool. And then Stockholm.
Stockholm is, I can't remember which days it is. It's 18th, I think, through 20th or 21st. It's the middle of the month.
Okay.
In June.
So when you go to Miami, obviously you always want to do well, but are you looking at that as like a warm up for Stockholm or like are you going at that full bore?
In Miami, the first race is my first pro solo.
Oh, that's right.
So for me, I'm seeing this as like a whole type of like reset. This is my first one. It's like Dallas 2023. Do I have goals? Absolutely. But really it's like, I got to get this one on the board. I have to know how this race feels solo. I've done pro doubles 2 or 3 times. So I know how it feels in pro doubles, but it's different in solo. I started out as a solo racer. I didn't do doubles till I did one in Cape Town, and I did one in Miami last year, actually. I did pro doubles the afternoon after my morning race. I was dead after
Psycho.
that. Yeah. But I was never really much of a doubles racer. I was solo. And then this season, I thankfully had 2 doubles races lined up because I broke my toe in the summer, like 7 weeks before Boston. So it wasn't really healed, but I could race it. And I'm like, looking back, I'm like, I don't think I would have done this if it was solo.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to like enjoying doubles quite a bit.
I've always liked the aspect of a team for multiple reasons, but I always, when it comes to like team sports, I always like being the guy. I like my team, like kind of like hop on my back, boys, like we got this. So that feeling's always good. Don't get me wrong, my teammate definitely carried me, especially on the runs for the 2. I had the same teammate for both runs, for both races, and he was a collegiate track athlete.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's, you know, getting way ahead of me on the run. Then he'd like slow down and kind of like jog and spot.
Yeah.
I'm like, but then it comes to like the strength stuff. And he's a strong athlete. Like he's actually a decathlete.
Nice.
So he's strong as well. He's like 6'4", big dude. But like walking lunges, I'm like, all right, give me the weight. Like I'll do the walking lunges. I'm low to the ground. I'm 5'8". Like it's nothing for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thought of doing a solo, and you're doing pro solo.
Pro solo, yeah.
Oh, brother. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, it's really gonna come down to how do I feel on the sled pull. Like I'll know midway through the sled pull, did I go too hard earlier? Like that's usually sled pull is like become like my strongest station. But I think that part of it is I at least times wise, I try to budget to not go too hard on, of course, ski or the push. And it's like whatever extra I have, I'm like, do that on the last 2 lengths of the sled pull.
Yeah.
That's when you can send it weight, like strength wise, because you have burpees after. So that's just cardio.
Yeah. After that, sled pull was hands down my least favorite and like least efficient as well.
Yeah.
Because I had zero technique on it. I'm just trying to muscle through all of it.
Yeah.
And just like, and my first certification for training was Olympic lifting.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think about this because there was a guy in the class who was probably 50 pounds lighter than me,
Mm-hmm.
but his technique was so proficient that he's just outlifting everybody.
It's a technique one.
Oh yeah. And so again, trying to muscle a sled pull, I'm like, that would zap my battery so quick.
Right.
I'm like this, because usually on some of them, you kind of, especially in a double, you get a little bit of recovery time. It almost feels like recovery time during the row, the C, again, if you're not going too hard on those. But like I felt like I got worse. Like I never recovered from the run on the sled pull because I'm just muscling everything and it's such bad technique.
Yeah.
Did you start out with one in particular that was bad? Was sled bad for you and now it's your best because you worked at it so hard?
I think, well, first one was an experience. So there are like lots of mistakes with my first race. I would say that I think it was really just like the philosophy. It worked really well for me in Vegas last year, that this idea of slightly conservative on the push so that I had like a full tank to give on the pull.
Yeah.
And I've kind of gone with that ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah. Like kind of like gauging your different like energy tanks for different stations. Like, how do I feel here? How do I feel here? Did I go too hard on the previous one?
Right. And that's why I say like this one is like, I have to learn how this feels.
Yeah. Do you have a least favorite?
Least favorite race or least
event.
favorite station?
Station.
Least favorite station, I would say, lunges have given me trouble. And partially it is like the way that my legs and my feet are shaped. Like I have people notice from like when I run, like it looks like I'm really out toeing. And it's like, look, it's not at the toe level. Like it's all the way up to the hips. So for me to have my foot straight, I have to bend in and basically my knees knock inward.
Oh.
So, it's like if I were to keep the leg straight, then my foot is outward.
Yeah.
And when you're doing this lunge technique, it's really hard to land and keep balance with your feet outward.
Yeah.
So I have to make that sacrifice, just like we talked about with the shoes, like you give some here, take some there. So it's like my lunges aren't as efficient as they are for most when I do this. So I'd say that's probably my least favorite for that reason.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
The
but
lunges,
again, I'm short, I'm stocky. I was a catcher in baseball, so like squat position always great for me. Another one, surprisingly, that like I found myself to be proficient at was the burpee broad jump. But I'm a good jumper. Like we didn't do a ton of burpees, but we covered some distance on our jumps.
That was one I used to hate, and now I like because I've really learned an efficient way to do them, and that works for me. Doesn't jack my heart rate, but that was a learn to like kind of thing. I'm not going to say learn to love, learn to like,
learn to deal with.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're talking about the science catching up with MMA. It's interesting to see like more technique coming out in HYROX because like we were watching videos for this last one, like people testing out like, okay, when we get to the ski, what's going to be more proficient if we go off distance or off time? I watched a video with 2 athletes that my teammate had sent me of these two athletes. They demoed it out. They're like, all right, we're going to go for one. We're going to go, I think it was 200 meters each. And then after that, we're going to try 30 seconds each. And we're going to see like what feels better. And the 30 second each one was like much more proficient for them. So that's what we did the second race that we did. And for us, that worked a lot better as well.
Yeah.
So again, it's kind of seeing like more training, more evolution of the game coming into it, and kind of even like you're saying yourself, like where am I devoting my energy to, and where can I give up some and make it up in others?
Yeah.
I think and that's what I always tell people too. I'm like, run.
Yeah, just run.
Just run.
Yeah.
Like especially people at the gym. I'm like, you're strong enough. Go for a run.
Yeah.
Like you'll make up or lose so much on the run.
Yeah, it is. That's the way I look at it. I mean, there are a lot of times when I'm like, if I know who I'm racing, I'm thinking to myself like, oh, I'm letting them, like, I'll let them work hard on this station. Like, I'm going to catch them on the run, just like, let them go. Don't just keep your cool. Like, you'll catch them on the run. You know? And that, sure enough, like that's in several of our races this year, my partner and I, both on men's and mixed side, like we noticed, like we just like were by far the leaders in our age group on the run side, like full minute ahead of, some of the teams that were closest to like other podium finishers. And so it really does come down to the run.
Have you always had a good gas tank? I mean, soccer and polo probably.
Decent tank. I think the thing is like, I never really understood or was taught how to train properly. So like my tank now is better than it's ever been my whole life.
And how old are you now?
I'm 41.
Okay.
Like there is no part of my life where I've been as fit as I am now, like not even close to it.
Yeah.
Which I think is fun. I've been fortunate to find a community here in Austin of people who are 10 to 15 years younger than me that I run with. And I'm able to just basically forget what my age is and just keep up with these kids.
Yeah.
Keep up with them.
That's true.
And to me, I'm like, that's like my carbon plate kind of thing that shows that I add on race day is the fact that I do all this training with these great athletes who are like, mid 20s and early 30s.
Yeah. they got father time on their side.
Yes.
But it also goes to show there are more and more studies coming out of you really don't lose that much as you age. You lose it
because you lose it.
Because you stopped.
You stopped.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's more likely, on average, you see a decline in fitness because on average, people are doing other things than fitness as they get older.
I forget the exact stat, but it's something crazy like 90% of people after high school never sprint again.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, and studies show like the more consistent you train power, the longer you retain it. You're starting to see, or not even starting to see, you see people in these events like in a master's division still putting out really impressive numbers. I saw a video of like an 83-year-old running like a 13-second 100-meter. It's like, that is insane. And like with like pretty good form. He did not look like a decrepit old 83-year-old. And then,
no, because he's had what? How many decades of that form?
Yeah, right. And then like last week I went out and golfed, and I'm golfing with this guy. Midway through the round, he tells me he's 63, just like a random guy I got paired with. And I'm like, brother, I thought you were like 78. Yeah. Like he looked so bad, but he's like, oh yeah, I've been a roofer my whole life and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But like just no real like muscular structure to his body. He just kind of looked like a frame walking around. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate reality, which I think, I don't know about you, but me, I am constantly in this bubble of my gym people. Like I don't go out much. I don't, other than the golf course, like is where I'll see people like, what we call NARPs, non-athletic regular people.
Man, I am borrowing that term. That is amazing. NARPs.
NARPs, yeah. So like to me, I'm like, oh, like because I'm 38. And a lot of times I'm like, man, this hurts. Like something hurts or whatever. And then it's like, I go and I see like people I went to high school with, like my 20-year high school reunions coming up. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. But again, when you're surrounded by, Mike Gonzalez, Eric Lehal, Juan Lehal, like these specimens, it's so, it's motivating, kind of like you're talking about, like you train with these younger people that just keep you going. But you kind of forget like how well we are doing as we're aging compared to the norm.
The norm, yeah. I mean, and it really, you become a product of what you normalize. This goes for so many things in life and business. You are a reflection of your standards, whether in business, whether in relationships or in fitness. And when you surround yourself with people who also have those standards, it's not a coincidence that you all look a little different than what the average person does who doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So right now, like for me, we hear age is just a number. I'm like, tell me what my Garmin age is. Like, that's what I care about. Yeah. Like how low can I get this thing?
It's another thing is like gamifying it.
Yes.
Like, how low can I get this?
I love that meme of like, that the Garmin watch is the Tamagotchi, except you're the thing that you're trying to keep alive.
That's
like
so funny.
Adult
I haven't
Tamagotchi.
seen that one.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. What does your Garmin say you are?
It says I'm 33.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my Oura Ring says I'm 30.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. And that's been with like limited training because like I said, I have this hernia going on. I just got this like 2 weeks ago. But it's like, yeah, you're VO2 max. You're, based off of your numbers that you're like, your sleep numbers and everything, like you're 30 years old. I'm like, oh, sick.
So I've got a bone to pick with Garmin. I think I'm actually younger than 33. So here's the thing. It says I got a VO2 max of 58. I'm like, I want to go get this lab tested. Because if I got a VO2 max of like 63, 64, I'm like, okay, that fitness age is really like 30.
Yeah,
if you're off that much,
yeah.
come on. I'm gonna say you're off this much here too. So
yeah, I did. The last time I did a VO2 max, was part of a test for the military, actually. I was not in the military, but it was a test conducted in Albuquerque. And day one, you come in and you run a true VO2 max test with like the oxygen mask on. And then you have, I had a couple of like grad students in there, and then I had like the actual professor running it. And it's so funny because I've done 2 VO2 max tests now, and they kind of have like the same. I'm sure they teach it. Like they're like, for the people running the test, like be very encouraging because they're like constantly like, and it's almost like a script. The way it comes out, like, oh yeah, good job, you're doing great, like keep it up. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But like I know that they're trying to push you as hard as you can go. And so you set a true VO2 max, and then they gave me time to completely recover, and then I set a true 1 rep max on a trap bar deadlift. Because the point of the test was to see if you can get the same cardiovascular response from lifting weights as you can from running.
got it.
And again, this is for the sake of the military. And so that was day 1. Day 2, I want to say I started at a certain percentage, and you do as many sets of 10 as you can, and every set they increased by like 10%. And like every third set or so, again, I still have the mask on. I'm hooked up to a bunch of different machines, and they were drawing blood from my earlobe.
Yeah.
And then day 3 was trying to do 20 sets of 10 at like 40% of your 1 rep max. And that still to this day is one of the hardest workouts I've ever done. I think it was a set recovery time. I'm not sure how much it was, but we were hooked up to a, God, I always mix up TENS unit and Tendo unit. It's whichever one tracks velocity, not like the electrical stimulation. Right. So I was hooked up to that machine. So they were paying attention to velocity. And so I thought that day was to keep up the velocity of the bar. And so I'm sitting there just like ripping every rep. And I get to like set 13. And I'm like, get this mask off me. I'm going to puke. I don't want to puke in your mask. Yeah. And they're like, all right, yeah, good job. Like we were hoping to get 20 rounds out of you, but like, that's good. And, my boss, who was at Performance Ranch in Albuquerque, he is a pretty high level mountain biker, mountain cyclist. I don't think they're called mountain cyclists, but mountain biker. And so in the test, they considered him an endurance athlete, and they considered me an MMA athlete because I was training for Muay Thai at this time. I asked my boss, I'm like, so how many sets did you get? He's like, I got 20. I was like, what? And I was 32, 33 at this time, and he was like 41, 42. And I was like, how the hell did you get all 20 sets in? He's like, I just took my time. I was like controlled my breathing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh man, I totally misunderstood the point of that third day. I was trying to, I was so exhausted. And, but at the end of the test, they did conclude that you can get the same cardiovascular response from lifting weights as you can from running, for the sake of the military. Again, there's an exception to that, right? Like you're not going to be able to do 20 sets of deadlifts and be ready for HYROX. Like that's not going to get you there. But now deadlift is part of the military entry exam. Yeah. So it was, again, a very cool test. It was cool to be a part of, and also like cool to see all the data on that. But yeah, I think that was the last time I set a VO2 max, and that was 2016, 2017. Yeah.
I did a blood lactate test when I was in Germany. Adidas had me over with a few other people in media testing out their HYROX shoe, the Drop Set Elite. And we did one where it was as many rounds as you can go. And it was minute 1. It was a 5-minute EMOM. Minute 1 was burpee broad jumps, and they would add 1 unit each time. Oof. Then it was wall balls you had a 1-minute set, and then they added 2 each round. Then 3 and 4 were running, starting out at, I want to say the first round was like at 7.1 kilometers an hour, and then they added 1.1 kilometers per hour. Or no, and then each round. And it was great because this time it was not just myself. It was, this test is happening. You have all these other people with you, like five other people. And the competitive nature, I think, in the two of us at the end, we were just like, we are not dropping. We are going to outlast each other, kind of thing. And I ended up not getting it, but then I talked to the guy after, and he was like a college soccer player, 35 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Used to be on a national soccer team for Egypt. I'm like, okay, I feel better that I didn't make it past this guy.
Yeah, if there's one guy that's going to beat me, I'm glad it was you.
Going to beat me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's not like, I'm a truck driver.
Yeah, exactly.
I game professionally for a living.
I stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night, I
used that joke the other day. Luckily, it was someone of a similar age, so they got it, because kids these days wouldn't understand that.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
I've had some references. You asked me about coffee, and like I always use this. Do you remember Randy Moss's famous interview where they asked, how are you going to pay a fine? He says, straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie.
So when people would ask me for my coffee, I'd say, straight black, homie. And like, the thing was, it's like, this joke landed in like 2003, 2004.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody, like, people don't even know who Randy Moss is the same way anymore. So I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah. I got to find new material for my coffee.
Yeah. I got to find older friends.
Yeah. Yes. Or that.
Yeah. The one I always use, because in baseball, because I still play in a men's league, like wood bat baseball league. I refuse to commit to softball. Yeah. I still play baseball. Yes. And every year in October, I go play in a 25-year-old division in the men's amateur baseball league World Series. So I still like stay very competitive with it. But a lot of times it's a lot of attaboys. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be like, attababy, or we attababy eats a boy. Yeah. And that's from an old collect call commercial. Yes. And like everyone's like, we attababy eats a boy? I'm like, oh God, never mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. You guys don't even know what payphones are, let alone a collect call.
Those collect calls, I remember I used to use that thing all the time. I'd call my mom. I'm like, at the bus stop now.
Yeah, a quick, leave your name. I'm at the bus stop, come get me.
Pick up at SR. Pick up at Fortner.
Because it charged you, right? If you accepted the collect call, it would charge you.
You got charged like $1. I mean, that's when $1 was a big deal. Like, you were going to get in trouble with your parents if there was an extra $1 spent on something.
That's it. They used to have an actual dollar menu at fast food restaurants. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, now it's a value menu. Can't call it a dollar menu.
No.
Yeah, man. It's an interesting time for us. I saw a sad thing the other day. It's like, we are the last generation that will have lived a time before social media. Yeah. And it's like, holy cow. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. I'm very fortunate. I'm like so thankful for when, like, at least I graduated 2002. So just a little bit before you, like, we didn't even have cell phones. Cell phones were not a thing. Like, people don't realize this, that it was actually, unfortunately, the tragedy in Columbine High School that really exploded the adoption or acceptance of cell phones at high schools.
Yeah.
Before Columbine, cell phones were, I mean, at least at my schools, they were not permitted. Yeah. And if one of those things rang, oh God, that thing was taken, principal's office, held to the end of the year, that kind of thing.
Held to the end of the year, yeah.
But after Columbine happened, and there were so many stories of how the kids were calling from the classrooms immediately, like, it kind of allowed, it was more like, okay, phones can be here, they just need to be off kind of thing. But it was this is when we started accepting that digital devices could be on us all the time.
Yeah.
And with the smartphone, oh man, that's a whole other thing.
It's a laptop in your pocket, man.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize, like, I talked with my wife about this several times. Like, I want to do an art project overlaying video footage of people walking around Town Lake, where they're walking around this beautiful place, but they're like looking at their phone. I'm like, I want to contextualize to the way I see it. Mm. And when I see you using the internet, I see you with a home computer or a CRT monitor walking around with a full keyboard. And to me, that's how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
You're out here walking around. You're not just looking at this small little thing. Your mind is as glued to that as it would be a desktop computer.
Yeah, that would be an impactful visualization of like, this is what you're doing. You're sitting at your desktop, and while you're at it, bring out an old like big camera. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing for me. And my mom, she gives me a hard time because I don't take a lot of pictures when I get to do a lot of cool stuff. Fortunately, because of what I do, and because of people I know. And she's like, "Oh, take more pictures. Did you take any pictures?" I was like, "No, I was there. Like I at the concert. I was there. Like I cannot stand when people post a full concert to their stories on Instagram. I'm like, brother, like we get it. You're at ACL. Yeah, it's Dua Lipa, and you want to video the whole thing. I'm like, if I wanted to see it, I would have gone. And
Right.
it's cool if you want to take videos for your sake. Cool, whatever, that's fine. But I'm like, I don't need to see the whole concert from your story. And that's the thing is like I like to be in. I got to play a couple rounds of golf at TPC Sawgrass, which the big tournament just happened this past weekend, and it's like, man, I'm so glad that I was there, like in the moment, like just living it. And there are certain times to take cool pictures for sure. Don't get me wrong, I did take pictures, but like my phone was in my golf bag. Like I don't do the whole let me document everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm in an industry as a strength coach at a prolific gym that like I don't use social media like near to the extent of like you look at like an Eric Lehawk guy has 800,000 followers and he's a gym guy.
Right.
And it's like, you know, that could I could never it would be hard for me to achieve that. But I could, you know, in theory, I could do that. But at what extent? Like I don't like
There's a cost that comes along with it. You know, I know people who like it's provided them an opportunity for a career, and that's great, but then you actually see the life they're living. Are they really living their life, or are they always thinking about, oh, this could be a content thing?
Yeah.
Or how could I approach the situation? And then, you know, I'd be with a friend and then it's like talking to you in a certain way. And they're like, oh, I should record this. And then they pull out the phone and they're talking to the camera in such a different tone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, really? Like you'd become the avatar of yourself. Like your name is your quote identity or whatever online, but really this is a character you're going to switch into.
Yeah.
For this moment. You missed me on that. I don't want any part of that.
No.
And I do think, you know, as someone who has a company with like 5 million followers,
Yeah, I was about to say.
people are like, how could you not be so hot on social media? I do think we have hit peak. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think we are just starting to see the harmful side effects of social media. Gen Z is the first generation to have less cognitive ability than their parents since they've been tracking this.
Ugh, that's scary. But it's a harsh reality.
It's a harsh reality. Glad we know it now.
Yeah.
Until, you know, what if it was a couple of more generations that went by? So I think that we've already started to see the pendulum swing and, you know, towards more offline analog type of things.
Yeah. Hopefully. It kind of comes back to what I was saying about being in your bubble. Because like, yeah, Austin is very big in, it is big in like social media and marketing and that kind of stuff. But it is also becoming, or it has been big on like the biohacking and the benefits of like turn off your internet before you go to bed or unplug it or like stuff like that. So it is, like you said, kind of like that swing of the pendulum back to more natural ways of living. And I even had a friend the other day, we were talking and he said that, I don't know, I have no idea if there's any truth to this, but he said that he saw they're bringing back phones that like a Razor, you know, like it's not a smartphone. It has T9 texting, like has very limited capabilities. And it's like, oh, I kind of miss that. Like, because I'll be the guy, I'll get a text on my phone and I'll look at the text and the next thing I know, I've been on Instagram for half an hour.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what? And like my thumb hurts. Like, what am I doing?
Or the age old thing of like, you went to go DM somebody and then you wake up, you're like, wait, what was I doing 30 minutes later? You know? So I actually have a lot of people that I pull a lot of friends away from DMs to text. I'm like, guys, let's not talk here. Can we talk by text? And I ask them like, you know, is that fine with you? And most are like, yes, absolutely. Please. And so I have plenty of group chats and, I message dialogues with people that I know through or primarily used to talk to through Instagram. And it's just like, let's just find ways to not, like, I'm glad we had the app to meet and connect, but like, hey, let's take this out of here just so that we have a more easier way to connect and converse.
Yeah. Slightly more natural.
Yes.
Yeah.
More human-like.
Yeah. I had that moment this morning. I was actually, when I went to message you, I had pulled up my Instagram and then my dog, I'm a very spoiled, like I spoil my dog way too much. And I hadn't quite finished my breakfast. I still actually had like egg whites on my plate. And so my dog starts crying. Like, you gonna finish that? And like right as I pull up my phone, he starts crying. And so I have my Instagram app open, and then I look at my dog and I'm like, dude, wait, like give me a second. And then I just start, before I message you, I just start scrolling Instagram because the app was already open.
That's what it's designed for.
Oh, I know.
That's what it's designed for.
It locks you in, man.
By the way, you mentioned the egg whites. We're going back to this. You mentioned something about egg whites not having flavor to them. Garlic powder, nice like sea salt or kosher salt, red pepper flakes. Makes huge difference. And then I'll either use chili crisp or HEB's Mi Tiende green salsa.
Yeah.
I hear my brother joke with me all the time, like, oh, it's so bland. There's no flavor. I'm like, oh boy, there is a lot of flavor if you do.
You got a second? Let me tell you. I'll mix mine with cottage cheese. There you go. Cottage cheese and then a little bit of like pink Himalayan sea salt.
Nice.
I don't get too wild with it. Although I do mix it into a protein pancake that I mix as well. So that's my favorite use for egg whites is like mixing it into things. But I did find this way, real quick, I'll tell the story. I saw it on one of the benefits of Instagram, you find cool recipes.
Yeah.
But like I put a little hot honey in the pan and then a little chili oil and then like a layer of like low fat mozzarella cheese. And I let that like develop a crisp and then I put the egg on top of it and I put a lid so the steam kind of cooks the top of the egg. And then I just fold it into each other. Oh, brother, let me tell you. It's like a spicy candied egg.
Yes.
It was so good. Yeah, I just started doing that yesterday.
This is great. You know what? Like, I love how we're talking about egg whites the way some people talk about like a mixed like tequila or whatever drink. Like
the notes on this. Yes. Give me the good smoky oak taste.
People sleep on the cover to then steam the top of the egg whites. That is, that's really good to get that cooked so that you don't undercook the bottom side.
Yeah, because I will be the first to admit that I used to be a pretty terrible cook.
Yeah.
But you know, trial and error, as we spoke about earlier.
Yes.
If you're going to eat good, you might as well make it taste good.
Exactly.
So real quick, what are your top 5 favorite shoes of all time?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. It's like picking your favorite star.
So I used to say this, and I still will say it. My favorite shoe of all time has never been made.
Interesting.
Never been made. Hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I couldn't tell you how many times people started to understand that once 2016, 17 happened and Adidas came with the Ultra Boost, the NMD, and the Yeezy Boost. I'm like, see, if you all thought it was, retro Jordans, Forces, and everything like that, you wouldn't have ever had your eyes open to what could be.
Yeah.
So I'll go by some of the different categories of favorite Jordan. I have them on my feet actually right now, Jordan 5. It's my favorite Air Jordan.
I noticed those when you walked in.
Yeah.
I was quick to pay attention. I was like, wonder what shoes he's going to wear in.
Yeah. So the Air Jordan 5. In terms of a runner, I would say there's this one Nike Air Max TL 4 Plus that has never been retroed. I have an original pair I'm intending to get an outsole put on so I can wear them. Other iconic classic ones, New Balance 1500 has long been a favorite of mine. I got to say either the Stan Smith or Superstar is another one. And another shoe that people sleep on, in my opinion, is the Puma GV Special.
Okay.
It's a classic court leather shoe, but full length EVA outsole, super comfortable. I mean, look, I'm 41 years old. Okay, I need some comfort now.
Yeah.
The days of wearing hard cup-soled product like Dunks and Forces, just not for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Can't walk around in those.
No, I mean, no.
Yeah, I have some
like
old. I used to really be into skateboarding shoes.
Yeah.
God, what was the magazine they used to have? I think it was like CCS.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would just, kind of like you were saying with eBay, East Bay.
Yeah.
And I'd geek out on East Bay too, because they just had everything. Honestly, it was always also kind of bizarre to see a shoe made in like a size 22 that you could only get it on like East Bay. So I was just like, man, that's so crazy. But yeah, the CCS magazines, I would geek out on shoes. So I have like some old Americas that I'll still wear from time to time. I was a big DC fan. DC kind of got like more into like, let's make them a little more comfortable. But the old Americas, spelled with an E, America. Yeah. I still have some that I'll rock around. I'll wear them out from time to time, like if I'm wearing with like jeans or something. And I'm like, these are so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 38. I've had some foot injuries and like knee injuries. I'm like, I don't want to be walking around. I have a very wide, fat foot. I'm like, I can't be walking around these anymore.
My brother was big into skate in the late 90s. And that was like prime time of like Et Easy America.
Oh, yeah.
And Action. And coincidentally through the shoe world, I connected with the CEO of Soltech. So like I got a couple E-Americas a couple years ago and I was like, oh yes, this is bringing me back to, younger years, much younger years.
That's awesome.
It's funny what shoes can do in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nostalgia. If I saw someone walk around in like some Osiris's right now, I'd be like, oh God.
Man, some D3s.
Yeah, the D3s, man. I'd be like, take me back to high school.
Yes.
Yeah, throw on some Fall Out Boy.
Yes. I love that pairing of the tight skinny jeans with the loaves of bread shoes. It was such a wild mix.
I don't know if this was a thing in California, but skating in New Mexico, we used to do this. When we get a new pair of shoes, we'd cut off the sole of the tongue of our old skate shoes and then stuff it under the other tongue.
Yeah.
And then Osiris came out with shoes that just looked like that.
Well, they were emulating what the skaters were doing.
Yeah. And good to know that was a thing everywhere and not just like what myself and goofy friends were doing.
Yep.
Yeah. The skinny jeans with like the blown up shoe. It's insane. And not even tied.
No, but there's also another pairing with that, which is a white web belt and then probably a black bob haircut. And eye makeup. Just like eyeliner. There's a uniform.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a starter pack.
Yeah. Tell me how old you are without telling me how old you are.
Yes.
That's so funny. So you've told us what's next with you personally, what's going on with HYROX. What's coming up with Nice Kicks? You guys got anything big on the docket?
Yeah, we have some things happening. It's our 20th anniversary of the blog this year.
Oh.
So that's a big deal. We have some special projects in the works on that we're really excited for. Outside of Nice Kicks, I'm starting another thing that's called Runner Drops. So think of what Nice Kicks is in terms of providing people with information on upcoming shoes from the casual world for running.
Very nice.
So
yeah, you're in the right demographic for that.
Yes.
There's, everywhere you look, there's a run club these days, which is great.
Running's the new skateboarding.
That's a good way to put it.
It's where the young people are going out. It's an activity they're doing. It's a social thing. That's how kids are in the streets. It's their running.
Yeah, I think that probably has a lot to do with, you see the U.S. is like at an all-time low for alcohol consumption.
Oh yeah.
And so again, I think things are trending in the right direction. Whether you want to say it's trading in one addiction for another is a different conversation. But
healthier livers with this addiction.
Yeah, healthier. Yeah, worse knees though. No, I'm just kidding. What do I want to trade off here? No, I'm just kidding. Well, awesome, man. Again, I really appreciate you making the drive out here, coming to check out the studio.
For sure.
Great conversation, super enlightening, especially when it comes to the shoe world. Like I said, I've never really been a sneakerhead. I've always appreciated it, especially when it came to like baseball cleats. Oddly enough, also in baseball, I was always a big Mizuno guy.
Yeah.
And then skate shoes, obviously, I was kind of big in. But cool to see you guys doing anything for South by?
No, we're not.
No?
Just taking it easy.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. Well, again, man, I appreciate you coming on. If you want to, give a shout out to the socials, to the camera, let people know where to find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Matt Halfhill.
Anything else to add?
No. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Always enjoy a good conversation with like-minded individuals. So again, appreciate you coming on. For sure. All right, everybody, that's been the Lions Pit Podcast. Again, I am your host, Nick Gomez. My guest today, Matt Halfhill. Shout out to Set. That is a new nicotine alternative pouch. That is getset.co for the website. Got the new flavor here. It is mint, 9 milligrams. Give them a shout out. Great for energy and focus. Also, shout out to Ghost Muay Thai. Really changing the game when it comes to the aesthetics of Muay Thai. Some really cool like street designs. So give them a look as well. Use code THEPIT for either one of those products, and we will see you next time.